Hey everybody, I am posting our Tuesday Thoughts video and I have changed the schedule a little bit. I've been getting a lot of emails from students and I really do encourage you all to email me with any questions you have. And a lot of college is going to be emailing professors, not just me, but in other classes as well. Which is why I think we need to talk a little bit about email etiquette. I'm going to just be reading a couple basic points from a lecture I gave a few years ago when I worked at the Writing Center about how to send a professional email. And one thing I do want to point out is the first impression a lot of professors will have of you at USM and beyond is through email. It might be the most personal correspondence you have with professors. It's how you'll ask them for letters of recommendation. It's how you'll ask questions. And especially in an online learning environment, it's really important to be sending professional emails. So there are a couple things I wanted to talk about. And they're important as a whole, but I'm going to break it down. The first is a subject line. The subject line of an email is hugely important. It'll determine whether or not your email is going to be read. Good subject lines succinctly capture the essence of the email in just a few words. They should be clear, direct, and error-free. Typos, as well as all capital or lowercase letters in the subject line, could cause the message to go unread or end up in spam. Also, putting no subject in an email is usually fairly unprofessional and will cause the email not to be read. So just keep that in mind. Every email you send should have a subject line, and it should give me an idea very briefly about what your email is going to be about. For example, if you are sending me an email about homework questions, you might consider putting in the subject line, question about homework due on Thursday in 101. Okay, email address, obviously you should be using your USM addresses, and if you're going to be doing any work-related or school-related emailing, they're usually a little bit more professional sounding. Nobody wants an email coming from beerbuddies12@gmail.com, for example. Let's see. Salutations. It is polite to begin emails with some sort of introductory element. I've been getting a lot of emails this week so far that just have half a sentence or a half a question. They don't say hello, they don't give me an introduction, they just sort of are a thought that popped into someone's head. So it's good to begin by saying, hi, Corey, or hi, if you're talking to a doctor, Dr. Smith, or dear Professor Smith. I go by Corey, so feel free to be informal and call me Corey, but it is nice to say, hi, Corey. Hey is a little informal, as is no salutation. If you are not certain, it's better to err on the side of being polite. If you don't know if the doctor goes by Dr. Wong or Jessica, I would say call the doctor Dr. Wong. Let's see. One of the most common errors I notice is actually something that I see in a lot of professional emails, and it is omitting the comma between hello and the person's name. For example, hello Jan without a comma is incorrect. Hello, comma, Jan, comma is the correct version. Because it is a direct address, you are directly addressing someone in email, it requires a comma. So, for example, dear Corey would not require a comma, but hello, Corey would require a comma both before and after my name. So, hello, comma, Corey, comma is the appropriate way to do that. Now, tone. This is the big one. It's helpful to think of email in the same way you may consider paper correspondences. For example, would you write the same information you conveyed in an email if it were on company letterhead? That's a good way to think of it. All capital letters might get the reader's attention and show urgency, but they could also make it sound like you're angry. Going off of that, don't email when you're angry. Wait until you've calmed down a little and then press send. I found a really good tool to be I never put the person I'm sending the email to in the line with their email address until I have already drafted the email. That way, if I accidentally hit send first, they will not receive that email with half an email in it. So I always add the person I'm sending it to as the last thing in an email. Okay, other things to avoid, acronyms and abbreviations, OMG, LOL, things such as that. Now, another thing that might be good to know is if you ask a question and receive a response, it is good to respond and say thank you or I received that, just to let us know that, okay, the email did reach you. So if you write to me, for example, and have a question about homework and I send you an answer, just drop me back a line and say, hey, Corey, thanks, that's good to know, or whatever, just so I know you received the email. Proofread, punctuation matters, and also remember to sign off. Conclude every email with a sign off note, such as sincerely. Um, so, those are some things to consider. Just a couple other hints. Brevity is a virtue. Reading on a computer screen is taxing, so it's better to keep emails short, no more than the length of one computer screen. Um, let's see. Then, the rule of thumb, the last thing I'll say is the general rule of thumb is that emails should be responded to in the same amount of time it would take to respond to a telephone call. So those are just some basics. I will probably be asking you to do a homework assignment around email etiquette, so it's a good idea to listen to this and potentially take some notes.